Unit 2, solving equations and inequalities. Question number 9. So question number 9 says solve for x and graph the solution on the number line below. So right here, guys, whenever you see a greater than or equal to or a greater than sign, okay, or a less than or equal to or a less than sign, that means this is an inequality, okay? So again, it's an inequality, okay? So our inequality means that it will have a range of solutions, but not one specific solution, okay? So what you're going to do is that you're going to draw some separating lines that represents your operators. And for this question, you see that there's an equation on the inside and numbers on the outside, okay? This is called a compounded inequality, okay? So what you're going to do is that whatever you do on the inside, you do on the two outsides. So on the inside, I would need to get rid of the negative 7 by adding 7, so you do it on the two outsides, okay? So that cancels it out, and then you bring down your x, okay? So here we have a greater than or equal to sign, so that you're going to bring down, because the only time that changes is when you multiply or divide by a negative. So this you also bring down. So 3 plus 7 is 10, 11 plus 7 is 18, and that would be it, because technically in front of here is a positive 1, but if you divide by positive 1, it stays the same. So again, in front of here is a positive 1, but if you divide by positive 1, it still stays the same, okay? So that means you don't really need to divide by a positive 1. Now you're going to figure out if it's open or closed, okay? So my number line isn't appropriate for this question, so I'm going to make a number line. So here, because there's a line underneath or equal to, that means it's closed, all right? Here, because there's no line underneath, that means it's open, and I would go right here and shade in the middle, okay? So whenever it's pointing one direction, you shade in the middle, okay? So let's try the next one right beside of it, okay? So the next one, again, we're going to draw our lines through our inequalities, and then whatever you see on the inside, you do on the outsides. So the first thing I would need to do is subtract 7, so then I do it on the two outsides. This gets cancelled, and we'd have 3x. 16 minus 7 is 9. Okay, and again, we didn't divide by a negative, so our less than sign stays the same, and our less than or equal to stays the same. 25 minus 7 is, I believe, 18. Okay, so then now I would need to break up this multiplying by 3 by dividing by 3. So you do it on the two outsides. So we divided by a number, but did we divide by a negative? No. So the x stays the same. And then the less than stays the same, less than or equal to stays the same. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Now you're going to try to figure out if it's open or closed. So because there's no line underneath, it's going to be open, because there is a or equal to line underneath. That means it's closed. And it's pointing in one direction, so you shade in the middle. Okay? So let's try the next ones below. So the next one below, again, we're going to draw our line of going down. So again, whatever you do on the inside, you do on the two outsides. So here I see a subtracting 2, so I would add 2, and I do it on my two outsides. That would get cancelled, because negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Then negative 2x, you bring it down. We didn't divide by a negative, so this less than or equal to, and this less than or equal to stays the same. 2 plus 2 is 4. 80 plus 2 or 88 plus 2 is 90. Now I'm going to break up this multiplying by negative 2 by dividing by negative 2. So I do it on the two outsides. And what happens when you divide by a negative? The operator changes direction. So it's now going in that direction instead. Okay? So we are left with x. Positive 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. Positive 90 divided by negative 2 is negative 45. So again, we can't put that on this number line, so we're going to make a number line. This is closed. And why is it closed? Because there's a line underneath. This is also closed. And because it's pointing in one direction, you shade in the middle. Okay? If they were pointing in opposite directions, you shade on the outsides. Okay? So let's do the next one and the last one. So again, I draw my line going down. So I'm going to add 5, do it on the two outsides. That gets cancelled, and then I would have negative 2x is less than, or rather greater than, and then not greater than, because again we didn't divide by a negative yet. And then negative 25 plus 5 is negative 20. Negative 29 plus 5 is negative 24. Okay, so now we're going to break up the multiplying by negative 2 by dividing by negative 2 on all sides. And whenever you divide by a negative, what happens to this? It flips to the other direction. So we'd have x, negative 20 divided by negative 2, and negative divided by negative is a positive, and that would be 10. Negative 24 divided by negative 2, and negative divided by negative is a positive, and that would be positive 12. Okay, so here, would it be open or closed? Open. Why is it open? Because there's no line underneath. Here, would it be open or closed? Open. Why is it open? Because there's no line underneath. And then you shade in the middle. Okay, so if you're putting it on the number line, what you would do is that you would go to 12. Technically it's going to automatically be closed, and then you're going to drag it to 10, and then you're going to have to make them open by clicking the dots again to make it open. So it should look something like this. Okay, so again guys, just like that.